Good Sunday evening, South Carolina weather watchers. Hopefully, everyone has had a fantastic Sunday evening and just a Sunday in general. I'm your host for South Carolina Weather, Jesse Peterson, and let's talk about the weather for your Sunday evening going into your future. Looking at the radar right now, not much going on. In terms of the radar, nothing going on right now, really. And if you go down here towards just the radar of South Carolina, of near Charleston, I should say near Charleston, not nothing's going on right here either. So go up here towards like Wilmington, North Carolina, nothing. Same thing up here in Greenville, nothing. So we're good in terms of radar or in terms of rain. But let's go on and now let's talk about the reflectivity. So we're gonna turn off the city names. We do have some rain and probably some gusty winds, gusty storms going through New York, Pennsylvania, and Ohio as well. We also obviously have rain going on inside of Florida right now, which honestly I thought was mainly because of Milton, but honestly, this rain that's occurring inside of Florida right now is not even from Milton yet, so you're already receiving inches of rainfall before a hurricane comes, so that's not a good sign at all. And then maybe just some isolated showers down here in Nevada and California, and that's really all that's happening throughout the entire U.S. As you go down here towards, as you go down towards our cloud cover right now does have cloud cover going throughout, like low clouds going throughout, like the upstate of South Carolina, maybe even going into like Florence, Charleston, as well as Augusta. Myrtle Beach over there is looking pretty good. Not really much in terms of cloud cover. And if you go into the future for cloud cover as well, cloud cover will continue for like the coastal low country region as we get through the next couple hours. But then as we get into around late tonight, going into early tomorrow morning, cloud cover seems like he wants to try and back off. But then right here you can see cloud cover start to form inside of like the PD region and portion of the low country in the southern Midlands. That might that might be fall formation. I might have to check that out in just a second. But yes, okay. I just looked it up and I just checked it out, and yes, this is fog. So fog will be developing inside of South Carolina, like the PD region of South Carolina, the southern Midland of South Carolina, and the low country of South Carolina. You will be receiving fog tomorrow morning. So do not be surprised at all, and especially if you have to go out somewhere, you should know what to do for fog. Always turn on like your fog lights, as well as don't follow too close behind anybody, but you should know what to do for fog. In terms of current temperatures, right now 71 in Columbia, 73 in Charleston, 73 inside Moncks Corner, as well as 71 in Georgetown, 71 in Myrtle Beach, 68 inside of Rock Hill, 71 in Greenville, 73 in Anderson, as well as 71 in Greenwood and Edgefield, as well as 73 in Augusta, 73 inside of Barnwell, 75 inside of Fairfax, 73 inside of Savannah. Here's our low temperatures for tonight, around 62 in Columbia, 61 inside of Moncks Corner, 68 inside of Charleston, 69 inside Hilton Head Island, plus 61 inside of Georgetown, 64 in Myrtle Beach, 60 inside of Cheraw, 61 inside of Rock Hill and Spartanburg and Greenville, 62 inside of Anderson, as well as 61 inside Greenwood, Lawrence, and 59 inside of Newbury. Here's our forecast precipitation for the next 24 hours, and barely anything. Barely any precipitation is expected for the next 24 or so hours. We're going to check out the model real quick. But you can see we're not talking about any sort of thunderstorms over the next 3 days. We're not talking about any excessive rainfall over the next 5 days, even though that can, in fact, change. So we're going to go on and just talk about models now and see what the models have to say. And then we're going to get to talking about the tropics, and then we're going to talk about the future and the week. So continuing this on, again, you're not seeing any sort of rain, even going into tomorrow, until you get to around 5, 6, 7 o'clock p.m. tomorrow, to where you're potentially seeing showers and downpours go through pretty much most of the Midlands of South Carolina, just scattered rain going through the Midlands of South Carolina, even parts of the upstate as well. And even as you go to around 11 p.m., 12 o'clock in the morning going into tomorrow night, Again, really just showers and downpours still continuing. And finally, they try to give out at around 8, 9 o'clock in the morning in the Midlands. But other than that, I'm not really seeing anything else. And all this precipitation you can see going on to the south of us, inside of Florida, you can see all of this precipitation right here, that's flowing into Florida, not affecting us at all. And if you look in terms of total precipitation, not much, around 100th of an inch to a 10th of an inch possible in these little light green colors. But down here in Florida, over the next 48 hours, down here in very southern Florida, they're thinking maybe close to a foot. But again, that's just one model run over the next 40 or so hours. So, again, nothing really much going on for South Carolina. Let's go on and talk about the tropics. Here's the tropics right here. And obviously, the elephant in the room here is Milton for sure. You can see pretty much it is a hurricane now, 85 miles per hour. Expected to become a hurricane as you get into as late as tonight. Well, major hurricane. It's expected to get to a major hurricane as late as tomorrow afternoon. It is already a hurricane, but it is expected to become a major hurricane by tomorrow afternoon, and expected to keep on strengthening until it gets to a Category 4 hurricane, I believe, at 140 miles per hour, I believe, is the max. 140 with gusts of up to 165, and when it makes landfall, it's going to be around 120 mile per hour with gusts of up to 150 near the Tampa Bay region. So, definitely, those are the areas that they're watching for. And just as you get past Florida and you get to around 1 p.m. Thursday, it'll be just off the coast of Florida, and then it will continue over towards Bermuda, causing some conditions over here. Key messages, not really much in terms of South Carolina. It just talks about Florida, damaging winds, life-threatening storm surge, and hurricane watches will likely be issued tonight and early Monday. Residents in the Florida Peninsula should follow any advice given by local officials. So definitely got to watch for that. And if you know anybody in Florida that is under a mandatory evacuation, please tell them to leave and not to stay. Please tell them to leave and to not stay instead of staying when there's a mandatory evacuation out. But here is the tropical storm force wind probabilities. Again, low country of South Carolina will probably see some tropical storm force conditions from Wednesday night going into Thursday morning as well. I mean, we'll talk about the winds in a second because we're talking about the impacts to South Carolina. So we'll talk about that after this slide right here. But tropical storm force conditions are possible, and then even as you get into rainfall as well, you're not really seeing much in terms of rainfall, and the arrival time of winds is around, or I'd say around the afternoon, from around 2, 3, 4 o'clock going into around 8 o'clock p.m., somewhere around there-ish. But you can see here, let me pull this up real quick. If you go to this website right here, we're just going to go down. We're going to go down to Charleston real quick. And we're going to go down to max wind gust real quick as well. And if you go into, let's just go all the way out to Friday. Now, obviously, you can see there's not really a lot going on right now in terms of like max winds. You see max winds right now around 40 in Charleston, 34 in Myrtle Beach, 27 in Florence, 25 in Greenville, and barely noticeable up here inside of Greenville, Spartanburg, which is a fantastic thing, because already with all the damage going on up here, definitely good that y'all won't really be affected in western North Carolina and the upstate of South Carolina. But that's just the icon. The GFS has a bit more of a stronger scenario. Instead, like Greenville, Spartanburg around 33, 34 miles an hour, Columbia around 33, Charleston around 45, Somerville around 40, Hilton Head Island around 50, Myrtle Beach around 40. So these are, again, just max wind gusts right here. These are max, like the max of what you can potentially see. If you go into the GEM, pretty much the same thing as the icon, around 20 to 30. So definitely, if I'm near the low country of South Carolina, southern Midlands, and portions of the PD region as well. I'd be expecting 30 to 40 mile per hour wind gusts as it could definitely push through. And especially the closer you are to the coast, the more south you are, I do believe the more wind or the more stronger winds that you could potentially see. But that's just my opinion. The more closer you are to the coast, most likely. So let's go on and just talk about the future real quick as well. So if we go over here to the forecast, or actually before we talk about the future, I do want to show you what they look like right now. Here's Leslie all the way over here. Let me pull that up right here. Here's Leslie right here. As you wait for this little thing right here. Here's what Leslie looks like. Speaking of Leslie, it is still a hurricane. Same thing with Kirk. Kirk is a 85 mile per hour storm. Going to cause some tropical storm force conditions in Europe. And Leslie is down here at 90 mile per hour storm. Not really going to cause us anything either. Just seems to be drifting off, but we'll see what happens with that. So here's what Leslie looks like again. Just not really much. If you go on over here to, let's go into Milton next. You can see it right here. Not really much to talk about there either. It is still developing, and it will become a major hurricane. And then as you go on to Kirk as well, Kirk is over here, still trying to stay as long as it can, but it will eventually dissipate soon. So that's going to the north. And that's that. Let's talk about the forecast models for the future, and then we'll talk about this week, and then we'll talk with the audience, and then we will be out. So here's October the 7th tomorrow, the 8th again, the 9th, nothing really, but then some heavy rainfall could be moving through as early as around 8 o'clock in the morning on the 10th, which is Thursday. So Wednesday night into Thursday, wind and rain will be pushing into the low country of South Carolina for sure, and will continue as you get to around October the 11th, to when it will finally all pretty much move out. But the entire day, October the 10th, for the low country and portion of the PD region as well, could be receiving rain most of the day. And then October the 11th gets here. Like late October the 11th and October the 12th, and a high pressure takes over, and we're in for a nice little weather pattern here. And as we get to the 14th, the 15th, you may see there's just a little tiny bit of snow up there in West Virginia on October the 15th as well. So that's interesting to see. Now, you can see at the bottom of your screen, there's another little hurricane thing down there that's going to push through and be out of there soon. And, I've seen some other scenarios as well, as it has a back-to-back hurricane going into Florida. Again, that's over 300 hours out, or close to 300 hours out, so close enough. So definitely still something that I would definitely not be paying attention to that much. And a cold front as well will also be sweeping in this week as well. If you go into dew points, and then you go through to October the 7th. This is Monday at 2 p.m. right here as it's pushing through North Carolina. And then look at this. Dew points can be 40 up here inside of like Gaffney, South Carolina. And then as you get in, but Columbia in Greenwood, South Carolina, it will be 62. And then as you get to around 8 o'clock in the morning on October the 8th, Tuesday, dew points in the 40s for places like Columbia and pretty much most of the Midlands. And then as you get into the low country of South Carolina, still in the 60s. And you can see that it kind of pushes down, and it will continue pushing down, but you honestly would say that Milton down there would be causing a bit more of a little disturbance and kind of trying to force that cold air or force that dry air back out, and trying to almost make it to where we're back to being in the 60s again. So you can kind of see as it pushes its way down, Milton kind of pushes it back, and then just temporarily though as we go through the 9th, and then even as we go through like the 10th and the 11th, cold air completely just pushes Milton back all the way, deteriorating it. And then everyone's dew points will be in the 30s, 40s as well. So Cold conditions, I wouldn't really say cold conditions, but dry conditions and cooler conditions will definitely be here, especially as we get into like Saturday and Friday at the end of the week as well. And that will stay with us for a pretty good amount of time, even as you get into like October the 15th, where we'll be starting to see some really dry air going through. And we won't start receiving some moist air until like October the 20th, but that's over 300 hours out, so I'm not going to comment too much on that far out. But let's go on and talk with the audience. If you want to be a part of the audience, you can by joining us at 9 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time. Let's see what the audience has to say for tonight. Ms. Oliver says, good evening, nice to stay at my house. I hope things are nice for the rest of the week. Just with Milton passing by, probably rain, gusty conditions, but through like Wednesday and Thursday. But other than that, it should be a pretty nice week. Mr. Anthony just said, good evening to you. Thad says, good evening. My Nana says, hello, and then Trail says, hi, Joseph. So that's pretty much all in terms for the chat for today. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, it could be on Milton, it can be on another location, it can be on just any sort of weather discussion or anything like that, or if you just want to share something as well that may have happened in terms, again, weather-wise, then you can share that in the chat as well. So, pushing this forward, this is total precipitation, but actually this will work. Just going through, no precipitation really being seen here. Again, no precipitation being seen here as you go through the next 48 hours for San Antonio. And then as you get into, like, our temperatures for tonight, tomorrow, and the day after tomorrow, Wednesday. Tuesday. Pushing this forward through tonight, low temperatures tonight seems to be in around the high 70s, seems to be around the high 60s instead. High temperatures in around 92-ish going into tomorrow. Low temperatures tomorrow at around 64-ish. High temperatures going to around 93, 94-ish for San Antonio going through your Tuesday. And then as you move up here to Raleigh, North Carolina, low temperatures tonight at around 62-ish. High temperatures tomorrow at around 78. Low temperatures tomorrow night at around 54. That's with that cold front pushing through. You will start to receive some very much noticeable cooler conditions. And then high temperatures only going to around 65-ish. And in terms of rainfall, actually we can just push all the way through the next 48 hours and see what happens. But going through the next 48 or so hours, no precipitation is really expected for the next 48 or so hours. So that is that. As we move on to severe weather, here is excessive rainfall. Nothing for tonight, nothing for tomorrow, nothing for Tuesday, nothing for Wednesday, and nothing for Thursday, though, either. Same thing, probably, if you go into severe weather, nothing going on, no thunderstorms expected, as you guys are pretty much good there. I did forget to talk about this, I believe, or no, I did talk about the drought monitor, never mind. I did talk about the drought monitor, but that seems to be it for tonight. We're at 269, trying to get to at least 270. At least 270 tonight. Trying to get to 300 by November the 5th, though. So let's make sure that we can get there. Hit the share button, subscribe button as well. Because there is at least one or two people that you know that you have not sent it to yet. At least one or two people. So go on and do that. And I don't see anything else inside the chat for tonight. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, like button as well. We have 9 people in here and only 8 likes. Let's get that last person to hit the like button. Trying to get to double-digit like goal every single night. So let's go on and get that done. That seems to be it, though. So everyone have a fantastic rest of your Sunday. And I will be back tomorrow morning with another forecast update. How. Hey, yeah.